A small rat can beat a cat. Fleas and germs can defeat bombers and guns. This is the basic theory behind Squadron 731. It is also my philosophy.
Hello and welcome to the final podcast, the last podcast you'll ever listen to.
Booze, brews, and horror movie reviews. Your final bros have survived.
Barely, because we are accompanied by Brian Hotboy LaGrasta.
I'm just a gay. And also joined with me is Shane. I have Molly in my pocket Smith.
I also may have a hydrogen bomb in my pocket, if you know
Oh
what I mean.
my God. And Mike the Cannibal, Gypsy.
Gay.
Gay. Yeah.
And Maddie with the stick.
I am very grateful I'm not part of the squadron.
The boys are here, and yes, today we are starting fucked up February. I know I don't sound happy about that.
Jesus.
Because the truth is, it's a rough one we're going to review today. As, you know, we have mentioned last week.
Yeah.
We're reviewing Men Behind the Sun.
God help us all.
A film depicting war atrocities. Like I mentioned in the quote, a philosophy of the squadron lead Ishii was really just to torture people using these bacterial and biological weapons to try to strengthen their military prowess for Japan. During the, I want to say, World War II time period, Matt, you can quote me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's during World War II or right.
It's towards the tail end of World War II.
Oh, you're right. It has to be towards the end of it. That's correct.
Yeah.
Has to be towards the end of World War II because the end of the movie technically is the end of the war.
Yes.
Makes sense. Yep. So this is the movie, like I said, it's kind of based on true events or at least like inspired by things that this place was really doing. This place was in Manchu, Japan. Squadron 731 was a real place. And they conducted these horrible experiments on people, experimenting with germs, bacteria, different types of weapons, engaging their reactions on people, and really treating these Chinese and Russian POWs as literal experiments.
Yeah. They viewed them as not actually humans, so they were able to run their tests on them without any remorse. Granted, I don't think they even needed to do that because these were the worst of the worst people, like, imaginable. It was a squadron of psychopaths.
Yeah. And I think what's really disturbing and really gets to you is like this movie has like a realism approach to the way they shot it. It felt real in the sense that the effects that they used were done on real corpses, rats, and lit them on fire in this movie. There's supposed a scene with rats eating a cat. The director went ahead and said that cat was alive after, but the crew in the movie said that they also did not believe that was the case.
I don't believe either.
Looking at it, I almost don't agree either because it looks like the cat's eye is missing in some shots.
Yeah.
It did not look fake to me, but you know, that's what's said. So
If I took an educated guess, I'd say that cat
you'd err on death of the cat.
was real and that cat died.
Poor cat. It was so cute. The problem also with this is like they also focus on like bringing up this squadron of young boys and really turning them into what they're doing. And like they're indoctrinating the young kids into this like war machine of just trialing experiments is so crazy.
Yeah.
The scene where there's a young boy that these kids play with a ball, and the way they so nonchalantly guide this kid, it's not like they take him and throw him on a gurney. They take him and they lead him right up to a gurney and they literally do an autopsy on him. Like,
While he's alive.
yeah, living autopsy. Now, what I did find out about the movie was that apparently that living autopsy scene, obviously the kid's an actor,
Yeah.
but the body that they used for the effects was the body of a recently deceased boy that died in a car accident that was lent to the director and the filmmakers by the kid's parents to use in this film. And that the organs were stuffed with, I think it was pig or some kind of farm animal. Isn't that shit crazy?
That's horrifying.
That's insane.
I had a real problem with a lot of this movie, that scene in particular.
Yeah, like that's the thing with these fucked up movies is half the time you're watching it, you're like, you don't want to even be looking at the screen, which is the issue I have. So I think in my older age, if I'm being honest,
Getting harder for you?
You take 21-year-old us, right?
Sure.
I'm gung ho. I want to sit in Damien's bedroom, watch this whole thing with a group of people eating snacks. Now, 12, 13 years later, I actually dread having to watch these movies.
You know what it is?
Like,
yeah, I think you're right. I think the hard part too is like now we're watching them by ourselves for the most part. Like we didn't watch it. We were watching these together. It's like hard to watch by yourself.
You get that like trauma bonding thing with other people where you're like, oh, all right, well, this is horrific, right, guys? Whereas when I'm home alone in bed, I'm like, this is sad. This is sadness. I'm surrounded by sadness.
This is tough because we've seen this. This is your third.
Yeah.
My second time watching. I think Mike's second. Did we watch this on the? Matt's first. I don't know how much of this Matt actually watched, but
I watched some.
yeah.
I tried my best to.
Because
the people are like Ishii was real. It's a real person.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
and that was the one difference with this movie from, say, August Underground or Cannibal Holocaust or like this was like at least it's real in terms of like this happened, and there is something important about showing the atrocities of war. So like people maybe know about it and hopefully don't repeat these things. But as an actual movie, it is a very unenjoyable experience.
Yeah, it's not fun to watch at all. I mean, like what you can gather is like there's some artistic merit in how real it feels, but I always argue too, like when does the art form like take it too far? I mean, like they're experimenting on like, well, not obviously it's fake, but they're using real bodies. Like,
Yeah, like that's real. Like body
oh, these
parts.
bodies,
All the bodies
these
here are real.
Bodies are real. Like this shit is crazy. And like, when is it like?
And this dude's fucking dancing and whistling.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think you're supposed to go as close to the art form as you can get without doing anything illegal. And I'm not saying that they did that. Probably not. I actually have no idea. But like, man, like if anything, he got really close. The fact that he actually like that they did light rats on fire though is not great.
Yeah, I hate that. It's just this came out what 88.
It's not
Which
that.
is kind of shocking that they could have still did this in 88.
Was this Chinese or a Japanese movie?
This is a Japanese movie, I believe. I'll double check myself.
Well, no, I know it takes like it's regarding Japan, but I don't know who made the movie.
Yeah, that does actually. Yeah.
For some reason, I think it's Chinese, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's because I mean, to be fair, it would make sense because it really paints the Japanese in a bad light.
So the director was Chinese. So,
Okay.
or he was born in China. So my assumption is that it's
It's a Chinese movie,
Yeah.
which makes sense considering this movie paints a horrible picture of the Japanese and what they did to the Chinese.
Oh yeah.
So when you look at it that way, maybe you could say some things were exaggerated to make the Japanese look worse, but a lot of it is documented. So
Yeah. A lot of it's documented. Apparently, in country of origins, Hong Kong.
yeah, so okay, so it is a Chinese movie. I will say the main characters of the general and his underlings do a great job of being stern and terrifying.
Yeah, so emotionally void.
Yes,
Like,
the general especially. Like even that scene where the general's with the geisha. Geisha? There's a geisha.
geisha.
Like when he's just like watering her, it's a very horrific scene.
It's a horrific scene because he doesn't care about what he does. Like,
Yeah.
and it kind of like that like his philosophy does kind of like make sense with what he's doing. He doesn't care about other people.
Yes.
What do they call these prisoners?
Marutas.
Yes. Which we have been wondering
Whether or not we can
You
say
can
that.
it. So we'll just say it the one time because it is technically a slur the Japanese use against the Chinese.
Oh.
It's a very specific thing, though, for this kind of thing. I don't think it's really used anymore, so we'll just say it the one time just because in the context of the movie, it is used constantly. Is it what the Japanese use to dehumanize the Chinese people? And I think even Russians, right? They have Russians
They have
as
Russian
well.
prisoners here as well.
So it's just what they called them, almost like to make it that they were like lesser than a normal human.
I think it translates to the word log.
Yes, or
Like
something
there's
like
like
that.
a log. It's basically like one person, like
Yes.
literally just like one number that they're gonna throw into an experiment.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, they just literally did not treat these people like people. It's really sad.
It is
It's like
horrific.
the worst part of human nature.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, really rough.
But there is a good part of human nature, Brian.
But when it ends,
Well, no, I was going to say it's when we jump into the spooky pit because we actually haven't done that yet.
let's do that.
And I think we need to do it. We need to get in. Get deep.
Men Behind the Sun, or Man Behind the Sun, was released in 1988. Lieutenant General Shiro Ishii and the Japanese troops at Unit 731 experiment on Chinese and Russian prisoners using bioweapons, directed by Tunfei Mao, and it stars the Men Behind the Sun. Yep. That's what I got for you.
I do like the title of this movie.
Yeah, it's fitting.
Because isn't the flag supposed to be like kind of like the
sun?
The sun. So
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think it's like a nice little. I don't know. I think it's a clever title for this type
It's
of
a
movie.
really
because
clever
it's like they're
title.
hiding behind the flag almost.
Exactly. Then that's what I got. Like for me, like that title is really strong because it means it's like Man Behind the Sun, maybe mentioning like Ishii, but also Men Behind the Sun, which is the other translation. Is that they're hiding? It's almost like the sun is like is like this powerful force, and they're like they feel safeguarded to hide behind it because these people are just experimenting with no consequence for themselves.
And that's exactly why they're hiding behind the pride of the country that like whatever they're doing they could get away with almost.
I almost don't want to talk too much because I feel like I'm going to just destroy history in the process.
Fair.
But like hearing when they talk about it, because they do bring in the history a little bit, I don't think they go as deep as they probably should into the history. It's really like there's a point where it just becomes experiment after experiment after experiment layered against each other till the inevitable end of the movie.
Right.
But if I'm to get this, so there's a story about a guy. His name is like, I don't want to say his Nakatomi, but it's like something like that.
It is something like that, right?
Yeah. And apparently he has been an informant and like ratted out Ishii somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't remember. They don't really go into detail. But then Ishii it was about like misusing a water purifier or something. And then like Ishii comes back now as the head of this squadron. And then like now Nakatomi's almost gonna like report up through the ranks into him. And he definitely makes that known right away by him using the water purifier, which is really, if I'm not mistaken, Nakatomi pissing in a machine that becomes water and he drinks it.
Yes, that's 100% what it is.
And I guess it's a symbol of strength and like more of like, I'm doing this now. Like, who do you think you are?
I mean,
my machine works. And now
I can't say anything. Bear Grylls drinks his own piss.
there you go.
I'm stuck in the forest. Better drink my own piss.
That's it.
He actually didn't he in one episode get one of the Spice Girls to pee in a cup and pour it over his head?
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of kinky.
Yeah. It's on Animal Planet or Discovery. Discovery.
Do you know which spice it was?
It was
Posh?
No, it was Sporty.
Sporty?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Sporty Spice.
Which one's with David Beckham?
That's Posh. Yeah. But yeah, fun little fact. So but yeah, it is I guess a way to show his power by like
It's good that was fun because there's nothing fun about this movie. Also, these kids, did they think they were gonna like?
When they try to escape right away.
Yeah, they think they would get away.
And the one kid runs right into an electric
That's
fence,
not,
like
that's
right in
not
the
how
beginning of
this
the movie.
stuff like this works, man.
I mean,
they set the tone right away that you're not escaping. You're a part of the group. And if you try to escape, you're running into an electric fence or we're gunning you down.
Also, what were they doing in the middle of the night? Like something with this ball?
I don't
They're just
remember.
playing.
They were
Hey.
playing, I think. It was just I mean, they're kids. I guess they like you're not thinking, and you don't want to be subjected to this constantly.
Yeah.
Because this is like, you gotta think, like, you're being led by the worst people imaginable. Like, some would say worse than Hitler.
This is pretty bad. Like, I don't know how you can be worse than this. And I know they were in Germany. They were just as bad.
Bad, they were. So, I mean, this is just, oh God, this is just Asian Hitler.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
literally, it's what it is.
Like, the experiments were fucking horrible. And although it might not have been the quantity of dead, there's still a lot of people that died.
Oh, yeah. Like, obviously, Germany has the numbers, but they killed massive amounts of people here, too.
So many people. And I'm surprised. I was telling Matt earlier, like, I'm surprised this is not more well known.
It's one of those things. It's like Hitler was the big bad. So it's almost like no one even cares to look past that. They're just like, well, Hitler was the worst. And they don't look deeper into, like, the other things that were going on during this time.
I mean, Les Claypool Ishii?
Yes.
But in all seriousness, that the story, like I said, it got a little weird because he made it sound like, yeah, they're doing this, but like they're almost doing this and Japan doesn't know they're doing this.
Yes, it's one of those things. It's
Like,
almost
so it was a secret thing that they were mentioning. Like, it's almost like if they discover something great, then they would bring it to the greater Japan. But it made it sound like they're saying, don't tell anybody else that we're doing this, not even people in Japan.
yeah, which is why, like, when you really think about it, all these lives experimented on and lost. It's truly the saddest thing that it was all for no reason.
Yeah, I think that's
Granted,
the
it was
worst
for no
part.
reason to begin with, but it was super for no reason because they destroy all the research at the end anyway. So truly, all that was accomplished was the torturing of thousands of people for nothing.
That's the worst part about the movie and the way it ends is literally it's all for naught because once the war's over, there's nothing they can do about this. They were contemplating mass suicide. Of course, they decided not to do that. So because we know the information, because they wanted the information to die with them.
It's obviously
So
someone eventually rats it out.
They would have had to. There's hundreds of them. So like all of these people, they just destroy the facilities, but they go back to their homes when the war's over, and that's where that information's obviously spread. Just fucking crazy.
It's fucking like, these are all like real people, right?
I'm not sure about every single person, but I know some of them are real. I
Ishii
know
is definitely
the
real.
main guy is real. I'm sure this guy is real. I have no idea, but his like second in command, I'm sure is real.
Like, dude, these are like real people, like with parents and a family, and of like they like have a favorite food and shit like that.
It's crazy to think about.
And then they just do the worst shit.
Yeah. And they justify it based off of science or based off of the bettering Japan or whatever. But like, really, when you break it down, most of them just like to torture people.
Yeah.
And it's sick, and it also comes down to a very racist thing where it's like they view other cultures as less than, and
Yeah, I mean, like it's a weird thing that like they were looking, and even like in the quote I mentioned where it's just like a rat can beat a cat, like all these smaller things can beat the bigger thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the philosophy. The germ can take down anything. People say that, like, what's like one of the most destructive things is like a mosquito, because
Yeah.
you get fucking malaria, you're taking down civilizations.
mosquito, one of the most deadly things of all time.
But it was his philosophy, like I said, like they were trying to find the germs or like the bacteria that could deeper infect and kill in large quantities combined with like these weapons of mass
So
destruction.
yes, they were essentially looking to not drop a hydrogen bomb, but a bomb of like the bubonic plague.
It literally just dropped, and that they would inject bubonic plague into people. Like,
Yes.
I don't even know where you have bubonic plague in concentrate that you could just fucking needle in.
injected it.
It's nuts. But that's and they were making those like back pottery the bombs apparently were real.
Yes.
They made like these real bacterial bombs that they would have in these pottery things that they would explode, and they would spread infection and stab people because they were pottery.
It's all horrific.
What's the leader's name?
Ishii?
Like, is he
Gary?
like on the clock? Does he go home after all this? Does he live at this
Well,
place?
no, their families are with them, right?
Yeah, their family.
All their families are on the base with them because remember at the end of the movie when they leave, they're leaving with all their families.
Fucking
They
wild.
they explained in the beginning the way that the compound looks, and they kind of showed like the different quarters of where they do the experiments, where the headquarters is. Headquarters is not where they do the experiments, where the barracks are, where the people that they're doing the experiments are, where they're asleep. Like they mapped out the Manchu like area of Japan where 731 was. You guys want to give a massage to a geisha or what?
No.
like the training for like all of these Japanese kids, and then like there's this boy that's watching them constantly. He's like a young boy that they're building up is gonna have like some kind of relationship with them, and you just knew something bad was happening
Oh,
to
the
that kid.
second you just knew that boy was gonna see a horrific
And
fate.
I'll
at
be
the end of this
honest, it
movie.
was probably worse than I even thought. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what's interesting about this movie too? Like, this movie, like, it's very historical in the sense that it's scene by scene by scene where they show all these all the experiments back to back to back, and like while it's kind of like a horror drama, like I feel like there's not a lot of dramatization. Like they only kind of like talk about the history in the beginning and like interspersed, but like you don't have like any like. You know, like Titanic is a history movie with also dramatization where they like kind of like loop in like the story of Jack and everything. There's none of that here. You know what I mean? Like it's just there's no like the real drama. It's just like brutality like the whole way through. Like it would have been nice to get like a little bit, even if the arc doesn't end well, like a little drama to it. There's none of that.
No,
it's just like you said brutality, like gore and violence all the way through. Really nothing of like, besides being real, like nothing from a movie standpoint that is entertaining, unfortunately. But it is, I hate to say, it's somewhat interesting to see this because these are stories that are never told.
No, like them covering the 3-month-old baby in snow after ripping it away from its mother.
The experiments are going to start like right now. We're there.
Do you know that woman probably gets it the worst out of anyone?
Oh, she gets the worst.
She starts by getting her 3-month-old ripped away from her, and then the baby getting smothered in snow. Then she's the one who gets her arms frozen and then boiled.
They foreshadow it too because like it was weird because like when they take the baby, dump it in the snow, and basically bury it in the snow, they throw her to the ground and they basically like kick her arm down. They hold her arm down with their leg. Yeah. I'm like, are they gonna cut her arm off? Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
I wonder if they're almost just like measuring up her arms.
Yeah, and then she is the one who gets.
She is the one behind the one.
So, fact about that woman: it says the young woman who was subjected to the lengthy and torturous experiment involving frostbite is actually the director Mao's niece. She was the only one willing to play the disturbing part.
Interesting. How much you get paid for being in a movie like this?
Definitely not a lot.
So the budget was only $200,000.
Oh my god!
So it says the film budget was only around $200,000, which is low for a film of this scope and subject material.
Yeah, because like, how much are they buying bodies for?
Dude, I don't know.
I just thought of that. I feel like bodies
he,
aren't cheap.
I was finding out he knew somebody. The director knew somebody
that would just give him the bodies.
I don't know what kind of mortician was giving this guy mass quantities of bodies, but
I mean,
you could probably find it in the trivia. That's where I got it from.
To be fair, I think it was Dahmer or Bundy that would just go to like the university morgue and they would just give him a body to like experiment on. It was one of the two of them. I forgot which one it was. But.
So, also the People's Liberation Army also lent their production support as well, because most of the military equipment in film belonged to the Chinese army.
Yeah, that's
right. So now we see like this, the mute boy is getting chased through the woods.
Because he stole the ball from
from the first guy that died to the electric fence, and he's a mute. He's basically saying, "I can't talk."
But it's not that kid's ball, though.
No, he was the one from the kid who got electrocuted.
Yeah.
But they gave the ball back to him.
Yeah, they throw it back to him in the woods.
I actually like. I hate that. I kind of like the story of the kids. It's actually an interesting part to the movie. It's an interesting dynamic.
It's just like growing up in this.
Yes. I think it's actually a very interesting thing, and like, I think it's needed because they all feel compassion because they're so young.
Yeah, it's like, where do you lose that innocence? Like, where does that go?
Where does it eventually disappear that you turn into Ishii? Like goes
When
to,
you
like
get-
Mike was saying, like this guy has like a family or a favorite food, but it's like, where do you lose that? Like in between.
Like, at what point in your life do you get totally ished?
Yes.
I don't think it's an age necessarily.
You're just
It's-
born Ished.
It's like once you see a certain amount of things, you're just so hardened to it.
Yeah. I hate that guy. Who was that? Tommy or whatever?
Yeah.
He's so miserable.
Oh, yeah. He's rough. This guy can't even stomach it because he's relatively couple weeks in. Yeah, he's basically like, hey, like he's gonna keep him at it, and he's gonna get over his sensitivity. Yeah, I mean it is quite nuts. This guy though, Nakatomi, is interesting because they write him off in the weirdest fucking way.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, he died fighting in the South, and I'm like.
Yes.
I know that's probably a lie, but they don't explain because they
Like what happened? to him.
Yeah, like he was a big rival of like he
Yeah.
fucked him over apparently at one point. Like I was waiting for like a big thing to happen, and they completely dropped that
Yeah.
storyline.
Maybe no one actually knows what happened to him.
I don't know. Like I feel like that wasn't like represented well.
No.
But in any case,
Want to talk torture?
let's just get right into it.
Right. So from like this point on, you can't really like take a deep dive on this movie. There's nothing to.
No, it's just,
Dive into-
it's
the
literally
rest of
pretty
it-
much an hour of
Yeah.
the worst torturing you can do to
all
a
that's
person.
left is torture. Literally all that's left
Yep.
of animals and
And
humans.
unfortunately, I have listed every single one here.
Oh boy.
So you want to just go in order off your list?
Yep, and the list is the niece.
Okay, so we start off with a woman who is going to be tied up outside in the freezing cold, and they're going to keep pouring water over her arms until eventually her arms are nothing but icicles.
Yeah,
And they like beat her arms.
she's like outside and they're like chiseling her arms and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, her arms they're frozen. They're frozen solid. They have icicles. Mm-hmm. And then they bring her back inside, right? And then I don't know what it is that they do. They're boiled. They're frozen.
They dip her arms in boiling hot water.
Then it's the boiling hot water after she's frozen.
Yes, because it's like that's how they thaw her arms.
Got it. I
Completely.
just didn't know the order.
But since it's boiling hot and her arms are like dead, so
Yeah.
she doesn't feel her
They're
arms.
already frozen.
So that's why when it's in the boiling hot water, she doesn't react because she actually can't feel anything. But then when they rip off her skin and meat off, she screams. Not probably because she feels it, but because
her arms
watching that happen to yourself is probably horrific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause she sees it. She's like, oh, I don't have fucking arms anymore.
And the fact that she's moving the skeletal.
Ugh.
Yeah, dude, it's from like the back, like
Yeah.
towards the elbow, that they rip and flay both of the arms. And because, like I said, you said it was completely frozen off and frostbitten beyond belief, then boiled to an insurmountable degree, that they rip it off both arms, and all it is skeletal bones.
Yeah.
Like there's no blood; it's just skeletal bones.
Yeah.
And seeing her and her reaction with that was horrifying. Like it was legitimately horrifying. Yeah.
There's also the subplot of the two guys trying to get the information out of the out of the camp. Those guys in the jail.
Yes.
They're trying to
that's-
get word out of
like
what happened.
this
here.
story also could have been so much better.
It's not
than I
delved
did.
into enough to even really talk about, but I
Like,
just figured
this
I'd
is-
mention it.
Yeah, no, you should mention it because it's a good point. But like, this is where like I like think the movie could have been even better, is because like it needed a little bit more of an arc the other way, almost like a. I know you're not going to defeat them, but like a better like a revolution in a way, like
Yes.
a better combating the evil. And they just get gunned down in a cell later. Like it's like kind of irrelevant.
It is.
There's no like, and even if that's what happens in history, like they don't deep dive that piece too much.
It's just very sad and horrific.
But right after that scene though, Shane, they actually show another guy who actually gets his arms frozen and
Yes.
and like actual chiseled off.
Yes, so they do. That was the
That was
nitro.
Nitroglycerin, maybe?
Yeah, deep freeze. So
Is
as
that
soon as he
the
puts him in
is that
and
the
out,
is that the lino?
Yes.
Liquid nitrogen.
It is the
Terrifier
liquid nitrogen. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's liquid nitrogen.
And they
Sorry.
basically, I like to call it the "don't break the ice" experiment.
Yes, because then they just start chiseling his arm off,
Yeah.
which horrific, but not the worst thing in the movie. I was like, okay. I can
No,
stomach that.
the scene with the niece is worse with the arms that
significantly.
we're about to watch right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Great, crazy. So,
I love sham chowder. It's delicious.
oh my god. Then the next one is, believe it or not, the pottery bombs. When they start making the pottery bombs and they put the people
On crosses.
like they're crucifying people and they're putting like these like bacterial bombs and pottery, like we mentioned earlier, next to each like one of them, and they just explode them all.
They carpet bomb the field and people are missing arms and legs and
There's like
their faces are half
lesions everywhere. It's like fucking gross. But yeah, there's that, and that was like they mentioned. There was a lot of people. I think they said like 29 men and women. But
oh god. So after that, it's the
depressurization unit.
Oh, our favorite scene. So they decide to throw this one guy into a pressurized chamber, and they increase the pressure.
Is
right?
it increase or is it increased pressure?
I think it would be increased because I believe it's increasing the pressure because that causes him to expand into a balloon, but also causes him to poop out his intestines.
Yeah, that was rough. Dude.
I think it's my least favorite scene in the movie.
It's my least favorite scene in the movie for sure. So like you could tell like he has his hands like to his head. Like I don't know like
it causes your eardrums to rupture.
I'm assuming,
the pressure.
Yeah, I'm assuming the pressure broke his eardrums, and then he just gets like basically on the floor in the fetal almost, and like you just see this fucking intestine snake out of his ass, and then followed by really anything that was inside
of him comes out.
like his shit, like anything, and yeah, it's really bad. It's a really bad scene.
Then it's the woman and her child who get gassed, right?
35-year-old woman and daughter died of poisonous gas. That's brutal too, and just in the sense of like just watching these people die to a poison.
Yeah.
Her and her daughter, like they're just slowly dying together.
Yeah.
Due to poisonous gas.
But the question is like with this water thing here, want to go back since we're actually on, what are they actually trying to learn?
I don't know how that's the thing. Like, how are you going to use these things in a large war environment?
Which is why it almost comes down to I feel like they just enjoy torturing people at some points.
Like even watching this, it's just like a hard movie to watch.
Yeah.
You know what's coming because we've seen it so many times. Like if you don't know what's coming, it's just shocking. But when you do know what's coming, it's like it's just hard to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then you have they died of the poisonous gas, and then this is where the next scene is where they gather the mute boy.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Which we went into a little bit, but I guess we could dive in.
Yep.
They get the mute boy. They lure him in. They say he's going to do a surgery and everything will be fine after. It's a bunch of bullshit because they knock him out at least with like a gas. But
it's just disturbing the way they do it. They try to like play like this is gonna be a fun like cool thing they're doing, and they like lure the kid into a living autopsy.
And it's crazy because the whole point is they want a puberty aged boy's living organs.
Yeah,
but what the fuck are you gonna learn from that?
Heart, liver, brain, like all of that.
What do you learn from that?
I don't know, but yeah, I mean they like I said we mentioned we touched on the lore before. But yeah, they basically cut the kid open after the gas, and they just like dig in, and there you just see them taking the beating heart, taking the big liver, like all of these things, and yeah, it's really like disturbing to watch. Bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah. Well, so let's keep going. Let's just run through these.
Yeah, the kids watching too.
I know. Well, they make the kids watch all of it.
Insane.
The kids have to watch every scene.
Yeah, I mean, following the living autopsy is the cat experiment, which like truly, this one just like, what do you think is going to happen?
Right. Yeah, that's
like,
the thing. Like, it's stupid. Everyone knows rats attack.
Yeah, rats are going to fight. You have hundreds of rats and you throw a cat. Like, what do you fucking think is going to happen?
We've known since the medieval times that if you do things to rats, they eat what's in front of them. That's like the torture they used to do in medieval times where they would put the bucket on your stomach and light it with like a torch, and the rats burrow into your stomach. And
Are their teeth like super sharp or something?
Yes. and they would burrow into you and eat you.
It's like the Denzel Washington classic Bone Collector. You ever seen that movie?
Oh yeah, don't they do something like that in Bone Collector?
Yeah.
Sick.
They fucking like tape a dude to a wall,
Yep.
and there's like a rat or like a hole, and he just leads rats into the dude's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty gnarly.
That's a really good movie. That's a horror movie too, right?
Yeah, horror,
Crime.
crime, thriller, mystery.
Interesting. But
It's
yeah.
just truly sad. Like you think about like, right? Like you're on this earth and like this is what your life is. Like
Horrendous.
it's like just so sad to think about.
But like, see from their like perspective, this is like, I assume they find joy in this.
Yeah.
And like you said, they have families, right?
Yes.
So I guess this is what they like.
It's just like at wartime, like this is where you're placed, like roles reverse, like dude, like how would you feel? Not obviously great about it. Like it's fucking the worst.
This is awful.
Yeah, man, it's hard. But yeah, so there's that controversial cat and rat scene, and then following the cat and rat scene, is really where the prisoners just try to escape. That was the big
They get shot and
escape.
gunned down.
They get gunned down in the jail cell. Like
Yes.
they don't even make it out of the jail cell. Those guys just get gunned down in the jail cell.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do believe there are some prisoners that do. There's like a little chase scene. Some of them do get away into the fields, and they're gunned down by the people. I don't know if they're on like fucking dune buggies or what they are, like
Yeah.
those little cars that they do, like those little trucks that are shooting them and gunning them down. I actually think Ishii also shoots someone in the head. I think he shoots another soldier in the head when he's trying to save, like, preserve the data.
Oh. That's it. He shoots the guy kind of with the Hitler mustache. That was with the kids most of the movie. So when they're burning all the data after they find out the war has ended.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay. So just to give,
I mean, those are all the experiments back to back.
yeah. So
Where they try to escape.
just to give the context, after they've done every experiment that we just mentioned, because that's a majority of the movie, towards the end, the escape with the prisoners, they gun them all down. Then they get a call, not a call. They get the letter, the telegram that Nagasaki has been bombed.
Nagasaki.
And then they're like, the war is over. We have to destroy the data. We have to kill ourselves. They decide not to kill themselves.
Ishii was like, yeah, we need to destroy everything, and then each of us need to kill ourselves.
Yes. And then they're like, how about we do all of that minus the suicide part? And he's like, sure. So then the one guy, the one I think that was with the controlling the kids the most of the movie, he begs Ishii not to destroy the data. He gets on his knees. He's like, I'd rather you kill me than you destroy the data. And that's when he shoots him in the face, and he falls into the fire.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Crazy. But yeah, so I mean, that's when they are killing prisoners or
Yeah.
poisoning them by gas, and
Yes.
not just killing them by any means necessary because they need to light the place on fire.
But the one prisoner is trying to escape still.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Oh my God, brutal. And then I know like that one tries to escape. They light the building on fire. I think the rats are also lit on fire.
Yeah,
at
that's
this
when the
time, too.
rats run through the building on fire.
Yeah, and then the one guy that's trying to escape is impaled by a flag.
Yes, when they get to the train station. They get to the very, very end. The one guy's about to escape with all of them, and then someone notices he's one of the prisoners, and he gets impaled through the neck with the Japanese flag. And it's very kind of fitting that, like, that is the final blow, is the actual Japanese flag, like, impaling one of the prisoners. It's kind of it's very symbolic, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. But that's that. They get to the train station, like all the families are there. They're waiting for the train to come and take them back to their homes. They vow to never mention anything that happens at Unit 731. They can't let what they worked on get out.
Yes.
And that's how the movie ends. It's like really
Depressing.
bleak and
My question is, how is
Hard
there
to
3
watch.
sequels?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy because it's already done. Like,
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I don't actually understand how there are sequels.
Are they just like other depictions of the shit that happens?
Maybe. It's very possible. All I know is this movie was dark, depressing, and dreary, and I'm never going to watch it again. With that said, This movie's historically accurate, as far as I know. It depicts the atrocities of what they were doing. It's an interesting look at that in that term, but in terms of actually being a movie, it is one of the more miserable watches I've ever had to sit through. So for that reason, I'm going to shockingly give this movie a 5.
Wow.
I was really deciding between that and a 4.
Okay.
But I feel like out of all the movies we have watched in Fucked Up February, this one at least has a story to it that is worth telling. Maybe not as horrifically as they did tell it, but
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna move it over to Mikey.
So I'm gonna give it a 1.
Okay.
If I could go lower, I would. Yeah, I truly hate this movie. I was angry while watching it, and several times I almost turned it off. Yeah, it might be historically accurate and whatnot, but I don't know. This movie's fucking sick just for the sake of being sick, and I feel like a lot of it was unnecessary. Yeah, shit's gnarly. Yeah, it's disgusting, and I truly hope I never, ever, ever see this movie again. It's a 1.
Yeah, this movie's hard to watch for sure. It's definitely harder to watch now for some reason than the first time I watched it. Because the movie like felt real and did disturb me profoundly in a way, like it just is sad. It's really sad because it's like, I guess the historical piece, I would have liked to see a little bit more dramatization in terms of like having at least something happen that was to go alongside the story of the experiments that kind of made it feel more like a moving story versus just experiment after experiment after experiment. So for that, I'm going to give it a 5. I mean, the movie felt real, and really for that, it's like I said, like that's where the movie does come across as like really disturbing is in that it depicts the worst of human nature. But at the same time, does the art form go too far? You know, does it go with fucking real dead corpses is not great, but
Not great.
that's what makes it fucked up. So
I don't need to see an autopsy on a child again.
maybe when we review Faces of Death 2, there'll be more autopsies.
At least I can guarantee you there's no more autopsy.
I've never seen Faces of Death 2. I know there's one in Faces of Death 1.
Yeah, I was thinking, is there any more autopsies in the movies we're reviewing this month?
Oh,
but
Yo, dude, can we go lower than a 0? I mean, than a 1.
no,
So I can't give a 0
you can't.
because I was probably gonna give that for Pink Flamingo.
there is a dead animal, I think, though. I think they do kill a chicken in that movie. I
Oh,
don't know if
they
that's
do. They
I don't know if that's
definitely do.
confirmed, but it kind of looks like it's a real chicken they kill.
I can't believe I have to watch that again too.
Technically, we could
Jesus
just explain it to you if you
fucking
don't want to
Christ.
rewatch it. But yeah, that's not what's next week though. But we're not going to say that yet because we actually still have to do our Necronomicon
Oh fuck!
because there's a lot.
Oh,
It
man.
never ends.
It's-
It's kind of like this movie. You know, felt like it never ended.
Yeah.
This movie's also like
Hour and 45,
longer than I remembered.
hour 50.
There's some sick kills in here. It's hard. Some of them, like I don't even know if I can confirm dead. Some of them it's hard to because they're thrown back, like they're thrown back into the cells
Yeah.
and they look dead. Maybe they are. I really don't know.
I'm going microwave.
I'm gonna go.
The pressure chamber
Yeah,
guy.
I'm gonna go to the pressure chamber as well.
That's the one.
With the
either
intestine
that
through
or
the ass.
or
Yeah.
the kid.
Oh, I can't go with the kid. We're going deep pressure, man. I don't know your name. I think you were prisoner 628. Man, that might be one of the most horrendous ways to go. Like, you imagine just having your insides pressurized, so pressured until they squeeze out of your butt?
Yeah, not great.
Horrendous. I'm sorry if that actually happened to someone in real life. That just sounds absolutely horrible. And we need that kind of horror in our Necronomicon. I feel like we've been a little soft lately. So let's get back to the nitty gritty and get some real fucking kills in there. So that's why you're in our
We're
Necronomicon.
getting soft. That's it.
Yeah.
That kill is
I need a
brutal,
bunch
dude.
of hard boys in here. Let's get harder, boys.
You mean the hard boys
Yeah,
on the
we gotta
couch
get-
here?
yes, we gotta
Okay.
get harder.
Oh, so we're soft boys right now.
We're all soft. This couch has to get hard.
Got it.
And we're going to get hard next week because next week is episode 250.
Oh boy.
250 is next week.
Oh boy.
And you know how we like doing special things for our 50th episodes.
Oh boy.
And this is a big one. This is a movie that has been referenced for
Countless times. Yeah.
probably for 248 episodes.
It's true.
We have actually still to this day never seen this movie, despite referencing it so many times. But now for you, the viewer, the listener, the watcher, the feet guys, we are reviewing the big one. We are reviewing in February, fucked up February, Slaughtered Vomit Dolls.
God. I can't believe we're touching this genre of movie.
Yeah.
What is happening, people?
It's not technically horror. I don't know. Maybe. I guess it's its own kind of horror. We play with our own rules in fucked up February, but it is.
See, like normally I would be so fucking into something like this, but this dude clearly has like no bedroom game. So
No bedroom game. But this is also where he gets the idea for the pottery bomb because she knocks over a fucking dish.
We
And he's
are-
like, pottery bomb.
We are still watching Men Behind the Sun behind us as we
see,
are
like usually
advertising this, just so you understand why Mike interrupted that with no context whatsoever.
Right. Normally I'd be like, yo, I'm gonna passion bump this shit. Like he's in her armpits and stuff.
Grabs her armpit hair, pulls it out.
Yeah. So
But it's repulsive, like everything else in this movie.
you know, we're getting repulsive next week. Episode 250, Slaughtered Vomit Dolls. So with that said, we are the final podcast signing off, and I will see you next week where I throw up into Brian's mouth, and then Brian throws up into Mike G's mouth, and then Matt gets in a bathtub, and Mike throws up all of the throw up onto Matt while he holds a cross.
My goodness. Oh, I could so do without this movie coming out next week. I can so do without it. We are The Final Podcast. Please tune in every Monday at www.thefinalpodcast.com for new episodes every Monday. Like I said, please give us a 5-star on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe on YouTube. You're going to want to because it is the biggest time of the year for us. It's fucked up February. And we are hard boys. And we're reviewing the hardest movies out there, apparently, to watch. So tune in next week for Slaughtered Vomit Dolls. We'll see you then.
Let's get hard.
God damn it.